Wren studied the grisly arc of his forearm, the unnatural angle of his thumb. The air had thickened with the too familiar stench of old blood, salt water and rust and sugar gone bad. Her magic bubbled up within her, eager to mend him, but she knew Una would never allow it. It was painfully predictable how it would all unfold, this moral debate on whether or not it was right to torture their prisoner. They'd known each other too long, 5 years now, after they met as recruits in the military academy. They'd trained together, taken their meals together, fought in the war together. And since then, well, things were complicated. Una met her eyes, her braid falling over her shoulder like a spill of dark water. Wren turned away before she could decide what shimmered in her superior's eyes. Still, all Una's bluster guaranteed was their prisoner's slow death by infection. A winning argument on medical grounds, if not on moral ones. She'd just have to build her case carefully. Steeling herself, Wren sidled as close to Una as she dared, her footsteps crackling softly in the thin layer of snow. From here, Wren could see the shadows of the bare trees curling like vines over Una's wrists, deep violet against her ochre skin. She held a tattered notebook up to the light and pinned the fluttering pages down against the wind. Wren gathered her cloak tighter and buried her nose into its fur-lined collar. They hadn't been truly alone in weeks, and now that she had Una cornered, she hardly knew what to say. In the end, she settled on what felt most honest. "Are you all right?" Una snapped the notebook shut. "Why?" "Permission to speak freely?" she asked dryly. When Una cut her an irritated look, she continued, "Oh, I don't know. It's just a hunch, considering you've been snappish and brooding all day, and now you've decided you don't care about a child." "A child?" Una scoffed. "You're too soft on him. He's about as old as we were when we were recruited." "Be that as it may, his arm is going to get horribly infected." Sunlight glinted off the sabre on Una's hip, and for one horrible moment the hilt looked wet with blood. "Good. Maybe that'll loosen his tongue." Wren let out a startled laugh at how infuriatingly typical Una was being. "Forget it. I don't care about him right now. I care about you. I wanted to check on you, since I know this mission has been difficult. It's been long. I just want to get this over with." Avoidance. The most effective tool in Una Dryden's armory to keep everyone at a carefully measured distance. Wren wanted to remind her it was only the two of them out here, but pushing a mountain would prove easier. They each dealt with their grief in their own way, and Wren would respect that. For now. Because if she were being honest, she didn't know if she could bear to talk about it either. She wasn't ready to admit she had anything to grieve. Last month, Sergeant Jacob Byers, her only friend besides Una, had gone missing. One day they were bickering over normal things, like whose turn it was to buy dinner when they stayed late at work, or which of them would file Una's paperwork. The next, he left on a routine patrol of the border they shared with Vesria and Cernos. Thanks to the ceasefire, those missions were supposed to be formalities. He was supposed to come back within the week. He never did. In her darker moments, Wren wished she had been with him on that patrol. Maybe it would have been her instead. Maybe if she'd seen something, a shred of his uniform or his knife forgotten in the snow, she could mourn him properly. But she refused to believe he was dead. Until she had answers, she couldn't lay him to rest. This prisoner, this boy, did nothing to assuage her. With his coltish limbs and streaming nose, he hardly looked capable of petty theft, much less kidnapping. "Are you all right?" Una asked, jarring her from her thoughts. "No," she wanted to say. Instead, she said, "I am." "Really?" Una drawled. "Just a minute ago you looked like you wanted to strangle me with those chains." "And why ever would I want to do that? You're always perfectly agreeable." Una barked out a laugh. "Now I know you have an agenda. Out with it." Wren considered changing the subject. It was so rare to get a smile out of Una these days. But she had to secure the boy's safety before she could let herself relax. "Let me heal his arm. At this rate, you'll have to interrogate his corpse. His wound is going to go necrotic before..."